I've already listened to The Life of a Showgirl twice today. Once while watching Brian Thomas Jr.'s targets on NFL Plus. And I figured I should just say what we're all thinking. I should probably be the one. Pretty underwhelming. Lots of misses. Frustrating. I expected better, frankly. We've seen better. It's strange to see such a step backward under what seemed to be better circumstances. I don't know who's to blame. I don't know if it's because of the blonde or because of the pass catcher. But you've got to think that the Jags and Liam Cohen want more out of BTJ. What did you think I was talking about? Welcome to Everything Else with Joshua Brisco. I'm Joshua Brisco. It will be a musical and a movie-filled and a nonsensical edition of the show as we roll on here today. We will have resident Taylor Swift expert and correspondent Tucker D. Franklin involved in both the music chat and, the grand majority of today's show. We will talk about The Life of a Showgirl because everybody is, which is maybe the problem. But we'll get to that a little bit later on, plus some big news in the world of Fat Bears and also the movie club that we are maybe starting, kind of. It depends on if you want to watch along. I've seen 2 fascinating movies recently that we'll get to later on because we'll have another show before Chiefs-Jags actually takes the field. Monday Night Football, we got a Monday nooner show coming around the beginning of next week. So we'll have plenty of time to zoom in on the Jags in particular. We're going to go ahead and enjoy our time today. And man, I just can't imagine not having listened to The Life of a Showgirl yet and then seeing Rachel's comment saying, I'm never going to see redwood trees the same way again. I mean, there are some incredible things have been happening. That much I'm willing to say in advance. But we'll save most of that for a beat or two down the road. Please do fire off in the comment section if you're live here with us on KCSN. Give me a Taylor Swift take. Give me the song that you loved or you didn't love. I don't know. This is an open forum. You bring in your opinions. We'll star some of them as we go, and then when Tucker and I have our full Taylor Swift chat later on, we'll bring some of those comments back, and we'll see where we're at. Of course, if you're listening later, appreciate you subscribing to Everything Else, wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for Everything Else with Joshua Brisco. You'll find it in its own podcast feed across the internet. Here's the place I'm at now, again, with an extra show still to come, with an extra weekend of watching NFL action, and with my current understanding of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Do you expect them to win this game? And maybe would you if it was Jags-Bills or Jags-Ravens before last week? Jags-Texans? Obviously, they're down right now. Jags Colts, the 2 teams at the top of the AFC South. I don't think we in a very long time, and I said never on Only Weird Games, and I was summarily reminded of the Cinderella run of both Mark Brunell and Blake Bortles in 2 separate eras. This side of Blake Bortles and a run that we either memory hole or generally just kind of remove from NFL history by choice because it doesn't make any sense. The Mark Sanchez Jets and the Blake Bortles Jags kind of suffer similar fates as like, wow, what a surprising footnote in AFC history. And they don't really get to ride the reputation beyond that because frankly, it happened more recently. I remember more about Urban Meyer's time in Jacksonville than I do about Blake Bortles nearly quarterbacking a Super Bowl participant. So I actually do think there are a couple of things at stake for the Chiefs and the Jags in a Week 5 game that doesn't usually have tremendous stakes. And this is obviously what happens when you start a season 0-2. The Chiefs start 0-2. Every game after matters more. But I want to start from the Jags side with everything I've already mentioned. I actually think the Jacksonville Jaguars could prove something on Monday, and the Chiefs need to be aware of that. As much as we talk all the time about, everybody plays their Super Bowl against the Chiefs come to town, you bring out your best. It's Monday night in Duval County, so you're going to get the most unhinged form of complimentary, an unhinged fan base. And you're going to get all of the eyeballs on a Jacksonville Jaguars game that doesn't typically get that kind of like island treatment where the Jags can prove that they're contenders and the Chiefs can prove that everybody buried them far too fast. That's what's on the line right now. The Chiefs could lose this game and then beat the Lions next week and still be 3-3 when Rashee Rice comes back. I'm still setting a lot of my standards to that. Just, hey, have your head above water when Rashee Rice returns, and then you're going to be a different version of your football team in the second half of the season. But if you're a Jags team right now that has gotten to this point by causing at least having three takeaways, causing 3 turnovers every game so far, and you're building on a fast, aggressive, fun defense, but an offensively minded head coach in his first year trying to make sense of what they have schematically. You have Brian Thomas Jr., who has just been an enigma, let's say, this year after being a revelation as a rookie. This year, Brian Thomas Jr. has 32 targets and 12 catches. It's a striking thing that jumps off the page that is unmatched throughout the current NFL and frankly even recent NFL history in terms of a guy getting this many targets and having this few receptions. I really did watch all of those targets this morning while listening to the Taylor Swift album. And sometimes it's just he's not where Trevor thought he was going to be. Sometimes the ball hits him in the hands and he can't bring it in. And sometimes he makes the play, and you go, oh, yeah, that guy's legit dangerous. Meanwhile, they're still trying to figure out where does Travis Hunter fit, not just in this offense, but in this football team. How do you try to make history with a guy who was a full-time two-way player, trying to figure out what his transition into the NFL looks like, where is he more valuable, and what is feasible for a rookie? And will that change years down the road, or maybe he'll be able to do more? Or 3 years from now, are we going to be talking about shutdown corner Travis Hunter or number 2 receiver Travis Hunter? I don't know. I think the Jags sold that trade up in that pick on the idea that he was 2 players, that he would be one guy with 1 draft pick on 1 contract playing both sides. That's more of a long-term question, too. I think we've got a pretty good idea of what his involvement will be coming up on Monday night. But they just have a lot of these hanging questions, and that's before you even actually get to the quarterback. I'm probably still holding some Trevor Lawrence stock that I just didn't feel good selling low on. The vision always made sense. The pedigree always made sense. The college performance, the ceiling, and the traits were always there. And for all of the flack that Justin Herbert gets as the if quarterback, Justin Herbert's gotten closer to those games mattering, and he's played better than a lot of what we've seen from Trevor Lawrence. What's maybe not bizarre, might be too strong of a word. What I would be concerned by, and let's say we give the Jags the halfway point in the season. What I would be concerned by would be a world in which halfway through this season, Liam Cohen, who seemed to do great work with Baker Mayfield, who continues to ball, but you bring in Liam Cohen to build this offense, to put this team on an offensive track that is good for the quarterback, is good for the weapons, is good for the organization. And right now, it just seems not quite in sync. I don't know if it's schematics and Trevor just not being quite comfortable with the way that Cohen wants to run the offense. If Cohen's going to do some things to make it a little bit more friendly to what Lawrence wants to do, I'm not sure that I'm not sure he's earned an enormous say in that, because he is an established starter, but he's not an established top 10 franchise kind of guy that you want to make sure the contract is there. They're going to have to work with him. But everything in that passing game is just kind of unsettled. And coming into the season, it seemed like the thing that they could be the most dangerous with. And instead, it's just not there yet. from the Chiefs' perspective here, just make sure that doesn't get fixed on Monday night. If Trent McDuffie ends up across from Travis Hunter for a whole bunch of snaps, cool. If Jalen Watson or, hell, the continually rising Noel Williams, and Christian Fulton was limited yesterday, so we'll say he won't get a game day designation until tomorrow. One of those big physical outside corners can line up with BTJ on the boundary when he's out there. Fantastic. I think the Chiefs actually match up pretty well with the Jags, specifically with the passing game. I think you have Steve Spagnuolo pick on a few of those moments when Trevor Lawrence isn't comfortable, keep him uncomfortable. By the way, cross promo, we talked about it on Weird Games, but you can just go read it on ESPN. Nate Taylor had a delightful story about Steve Spagnuolo's history of playing quarterback and being a three-sport athlete and all that. Again, we talked about it on Weird Games. It's a great read. Just mentioning if you are here for this show but don't hear Weird Games, whatever. Very fun. And one of the things that stands out is that the experience of playing quarterback made Steve Spagnuolo realize how valuable it is for the opposing quarterback to be uncomfortable. Trevor Lawrence hasn't looked terribly comfortable yet this year. Keep him uncomfy. Just keep him uncomfortable. Make sure your defense is not the first defense they figure it out with. And then Travis Etienne is a legitimate force, a legitimate threat. The speed there makes him a different kind of runner than Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley, guys who the Chiefs have had real success against. And I think that's partially because they have fared. I think this is anecdotal. I don't. Maybe there are advanced stats to line this up, but I know how they've handled those two guys over the years. With a secondary that hits and tackles as well as the Chiefs secondary does, maybe life is a little bit easier in terms of bringing down one of these beast bruising running backs rather than catching one of the quick, fast breakaway guys. You can hit Derrick Henry and slow him down while the rest of your team catches up. You've got to catch Travis Etienne before he catches the end zone. So that, to me, is a legitimate thing to keep an eye on. The Chiefs' run defense, I think, is probably going to be in pretty good shape again. But you can't let Etienne beat you, and you just keep this offense still looking a little bit out of sorts. Maybe we might just end up talking more about the Chiefs' offense versus the Jags' defense on Monday, because I think that's where more of these kind of continuing questions can go. And we've talked about that a ton since the Ravens game. Of, hey, the Ravens' defense was bad and injured. You have a chance now to prove that against Jacksonville. That's kind of that to me is the thing from the Chiefs side. Just keep that trajectory moving up. That's all. I don't need them to put up 37 in Jacksonville. I need them to win the game and to have the offense look similarly fluid against a better defense what the Jags have, as opposed to what the Ravens did last week. If the Chiefs are 3-2 out of this game, I'm going to feel pretty good regardless, because you end up with the Lions, and then it's Rashee Rice time. But by and large, I don't know. I really do feel like, and again, this is another test for your tackles. Figuring out how to keep Patrick Mahomes clean and confident in his protection. They did that very, very well against Baltimore. You have to do it against a much better pass rush, a much healthier pass rush. A defense that does have a bunch of speed and a bunch of excellent players, and they create a ton of turnovers. That all really matters. This is not me telling you that I think the Chiefs are winning this thing comfortably. I think it's a pretty good matchup where the Jags have something to prove on kind of a national level, and the Chiefs have something to prove. And I think if the Chiefs don't fall into that turnover trap that the Jags have gotten everybody else with, I think the Chiefs are in pretty good shape. For the Jags this year, their turnover games, these 3 turnover games, came against Bryce Young and the Panthers, Jake Browning and the Bengals, a lost version of the Houston Texans, and Brock Purdy showing up before missing the next game against the Niners last week, dealing with turf toe and all of that. I think the Jags are pretty good and deserve their credit for what they've done so far. I don't think they've got Ed Reed baiting a pick a game to make your quarterback's life a living hell. I think protect Patrick Mahomes and let him protect the football. There you go. There's your key to the game. Protect Patrick Mahomes. He'll protect the football. His only pick this year was a bump from Travis Kelce. I'm not worried about him being reckless, I don't think. Maybe the Jags get him once. Maybe they get him twice. I don't know. Don't let him get you 3 times, and I think we'll be okay. All right, that game's on Monday. We'll have another show on Monday. What we're not going to have is another opportunity to talk about a bunch of nonsense on this particular day. We'll take a timeout, come back with Tucker, and we'll see where we land. But I don't think it's going to have much to do with football.
Hey, Kansas City sports fans! FIFA World Cup 26 is headed our way, and FIFA is looking for folks just like you to join their volunteer team. Apply today at FIFAWorldCup.com/volunteers, or simply click the link in the description of this show to join this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and show the world just how special Kansas City is.
Looking to remodel your home and in search of a top-quality company to do the job? Contact Elenco. Since 1986, Elenco has been the remodeler of choice for customers throughout Kansas and Missouri. As a family-owned and operated business, Elenco provides customers top-quality products and unbeatable service straight from their family to yours. From windows and doors to siding, insulation, and bathroom renovations, there's no need that Elenco can't meet and exceed. Elenco only installs products that have proven track records of success, such as the Kohler Luckstone shower system. Elenco's installers are factory-trained professionals who know how to get the job done, not only quickly, but flawlessly. Whether you're located in Kansas City, Topeka, Wichita, or a rural town in northeastern Kansas or western Missouri, Elenco will come to you. Go to elencohome.com for more information. That's ALENCO home.com. Again, elencohome.com for more information and contact them about all your home improvement needs.
All right, I lied. We'll stick in the division here for just a little bit. Not the AFC West, but the AFC South. Tucker, I want, first of all, I want your assist on the vibe check, as I do think a couple good comments here where, Jackie says, I feel pretty confident in this game. Adam says, feeling confident against an AFC, NFC South team? Absolutely not. That's very fair. And then Jackie says, add in that it's a primetime game, and confidence goes down a bit. Again, this isn't a situation where I feel a sort of fundamental confidence that it's going to be a normal or easygoing game personally. I just think it's a pretty good matchup for two teams that are in kind of weird, very different places. So I don't know. Is that an earned vibe check, or should I be putting some more respect on the Jags on behalf of that defense?
No, I don't think so. I think if there's any more respect that needs to be placed is to Travis Etienne. And I think that you gave Travis Etienne his proper credit. And I thought what Nate said on Weird Games yesterday was really interesting about, like, this could be the best running back that the Chiefs have faced this year. And they've faced Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry already. But the way that Etienne is playing has been very good. Like, I mean, he's one of the main reasons that this offense is scoring points, right? Because, you talked about Brian Thomas Jr. already. He's been very disappointing. Their leading receiver is Britton Strange. I don't know if you have ever heard of that, but Britton Strange.
I would have gotten that guess wrong as of Monday before I looked that up.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, I do think that, like, their defense, obviously, you have to be very skilled to force turnovers. A lot of them are fumbles, so there's a lot of peanut punch and stuff like that. So that is, you have to be very opportunistic in that regard. Yes, I do think that there's some skill, and I don't think that should be taken away from them. I don't think you take anything away from the Jacksonville Jaguars by saying that that's not really a sustainable type of defense, right? By forcing 3 turnovers a game.
That's a good way of putting it.
Like, that's not an incredibly sustainable style to have your middle linebacker. I don't know if he's a middle linebacker, but one of your linebackers, Devin Lloyd, having 3 interceptions and leading the team and leading the league right now in interceptions. Like, that's probably not going to keep up the pace. And yes, I know it always feels like a cliche, and I've talked about this so many different places and so many different shows about taking care of the football, right? It always feels like every time I talk about it, I just feel like this is just like a cliche. I'm a 90s football coach talking about got to take care of the football, just trying to hype the boys up before the game. And that's really just like what it comes down to. Sometimes it is that simple, scoring more points and taking care of the football. But I think the Jags are good. I think they're a good football team. I don't think they are as good of a football team as maybe their record says that they are. You mentioned the San Francisco game. That was really interesting because, Josh, last night we got to see Mac Jones go in there and do a whole lot with that San Francisco offense. And funny enough, Mac Jones was not the quarterback that played against the Jacksonville Jaguars. It was uninjured Brock Purdy that played against the Jaguars, and I think he accounted for all 4 of the turnovers, whether it was interceptions or fumbles against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So Brock Purdy did not have a great game. He hasn't necessarily played against a murderer's row of quarterbacks. C.J. Stroud has struggled since his rookie year. They had Bryce Young as well, and Jake Browning, and they had a little bit of Joe Burrow before he got hurt, but it was one of those things where they haven't faced an offense to necessarily test this defense. This will be a test for the defense. I would hold off on any grandiose Jaguars takes until after this game. If I'm a Jaguars fan, I got an opportunity to sit down with Mia O'Brien. Club 904 is her podcast. She's down there in Jacksonville at the Jacksonville radio station, just to kind of get a vibe check on kind of what all's going on down there in Jacksonville. And I thought it was kind of interesting they are a little uncomfortable sometimes with Trevor Lawrence's decision making. Like that is a big thing for them, is that she calls them brain farts, or maybe his brain just short circuits sometimes. And I said it's like Trevor Lawrence sees something and is like, oh, what if I did this? Like, what if I went ahead and did this? Because he's an immensely talented. You talked about Trevor Lawrence already, immensely talented quarterback, but he's one of those guys where he makes those dumb decisions where he's just like trying too hard sometimes. I think Liam Cohn can do a good job to negate that, because I really like the hire of Cohn. Like, I think it made so much sense for him to go there. Like, it's a job that they have a quarterback in place. A lot of things made sense, especially after they got rid of their general manager, and he can kind of have a little bit more control. But I think this Jaguars team is good, as you said. I think that there is fool's gold when you look at the numbers with this Jacksonville Jaguars team, though. Truthfully, I don't think I'm too wildly worried and too wildly concerned. Like, to kind of go off the chat here and the 3 live streams that I've done already this week, like when I'm talking with the chat, like, it doesn't really seem like people in Kansas City are concerned about it. I have seen the word trap game thrown around a couple times, Josh. I don't know what you think about that, because with the Detroit Lions on Sunday Night Football next week, it could turn into that. But for me, myself, I don't know if I'm necessarily concerned because of the offensive showing against the Ravens.
I like what Chiefer65 TPT said in the chat a little bit ago.
Ooh.
Confirmation game.
Ooh.
I like the idea of it being a confirmation game where one of these teams is going to be able to confirm what we've seen so far. For the Chiefs, you only really want to confirm the last 2 weeks. For the Jags, you want to show that what you've done so far is not fluky. So like I think that's where it is for me, where again it's a game that should work out that way. I'm not willing to become instantly confident, because the margins really are thin. You really do have one, I'm not putting a hex on anybody here, you have one Isaiah Pacheco fumble that you weren't accounting for. Now all of a sudden,
sure,
this one possession game is a tie game. Or this 2 possession game is a 1 possession game. And now it's a 1 possession game, and so there's one more weird thing that happens. It never takes very much to change the tides of how things are going in the NFL. I like from Steven in the chat also, I never get tired of Super Bowls, but I miss noon kickoffs.
Yes.
I can relate to that.
Yes.
And then Steven says, by the way, my daughter likes your Piplup. Thank you, Steven. And also Steven's daughter. I've got a whole collection of Pokemon and Piplup nonsense all around that keeps the vibes of this show where they need to be. I need to bring back an old favorite who I don't know where he's at right now, but I'm going to put him back there from the good old days, but I'll unveil that later. Speaking of missing of noon games, I appreciate Paul saying everything else and Chiefs pre-post on Monday. Brisco's the hardest working dude in KC Media right now. I'm definitely not, but I will take that. And I'll take my double shift on Monday, because on Sunday, I'm going to sit down on the couch whenever the international game starts, and I'm going to be there until Sunday Night Football ends, and I'm going to watch Red Zone and the Quad Box until then, and that is as good as anything in the world feels.
Yeah. This is the first Sunday This is the first Sunday I've had Sunday Ticket, too. Shout out BJ and KC Sports Network for that. Not necessarily the best slate. I talked about this on that football show, but not necessarily the best slate to have Sunday Ticket for, but it is a slate nonetheless. And we would have been begging for this mid-July. Would have been begging for Jets Dolphins that we got to see
this is
on
why
Monday Night Football.
Red Zone is the solution to a meh slate, because I'll just let Scott Hansen tell me what's good. That's okay. It's not the best ball-knowing way to watch football. I'll probably go Red Zone and then figure it out on the second TV. But I mean, just whisk me around. Whisk me to the better games if one of them is disappointing. I'm okay with that.
I like that. I did want to bring up a comment that
Brian saying glad Josh didn't say he was going to sit at his desktop. You got to listen to Only Weird Games to get all the jokes. But hey, listen, Brian, I didn't say a lick of that, okay? Do not be out here holding me accountable for Nate Taylor's crimes. I don't work for the mouse, and I don't have...
said, hang on a second. When did I get looped into this?
I have nothing to do with this, Nate. Nothing.
Jonathan Cook said, do the Jags still have that dirty headhunting safety? And I was thinking, dirty? I don't know. Who's he talking about? And then I thought, Andre Sisco. Jackie Moon did beat me to it. Andre Sisco does play for the Jets now. So Andre Sisco not on the team. I forgot about that little spat of games where he was just like, he was super dirty to. Who was it? Was it Travis? I can't remember what Andre Sisco did, but he was.
I can't remember.
It's that's the dude from the Texans who's a super dirty Al-Shair or something.
Yes.
Who got suspended a couple of times. It was Jackie says Kelsey, so I trust Jackie with my whole heart. So I do think it was Kelsey. He was like a couple late hits from him, but yes, no, they do not have him anymore. This secondary, I don't think they're gonna have a lot of guys that you would recognize. I'll be honest. They don't have, as you mentioned already, they have a good front. Josh Hines-Allen, stud. He's a dog. Devin Lloyd, good linebacker. Funny enough, when I was talking to Mia in Jacksonville, they feel very similar about Devin Lloyd as we do here in Kansas City about Nick Bolton. They're like, oh, do not put him in coverage. That is awful. We hate to see him drop back. And I told Mia, I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of how like we feel about Nick Bolton. And she said, wait, what? Like if you look at the stat, like Nick Bolton, I was like, funny. Yeah. I was like, yeah, no, like Nick Bolton is probably the most polarizing player in Kansas City. And she's like, I'm surprised by that. And I was like, yeah, well, yeah. But no, that's always good to get like perspectives like that from like the other teams and stuff like that. See that how they gauge the temperatures of their players.
Yes, it's a valuable exercise because also like everyone will remember Eric Armstead, but also he's 31 in the middle of that defensive line. So like I mean I think of him as still being like a relatively young player, even by D tackle standpoints. He's not. Right. Which is like another. I do find him to be an interesting interior matchup if he does end up across from Kingsley a bunch. I don't know exactly what their typical alignments will be or if they'll change anything for this week. But You do talk about like a veteran who has done it for a very long time, who has won in a bunch of different ways over the years in terms of just being able to have like a relatively varied skill set there. It's a different thing than Jalen Carter and Quinnen Williams, right?
Yeah.
Where you have the veteran who's done it for a long time at a high level, trying to pick on your weaknesses maybe than just purely relying on their own strengths. But I don't know. Steven says he's not Calais Campbell, but he's not young. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good. They also have Emmanuel Ogbah on their team as well. So that's
yeah,
crazy.
Completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got distracted because I had a segue for you. Get ready to throw to a break, Tucker. Get ready. You ready? This comment from Jackie Moon said, try to look up Andre Sisco's hit on Kelsey. Now is not the time to search for Kelsey, LOL. Good point, Jackie. Hey, speaking of Travis Kelsey and laying the wood, we'll talk more about that album next.
What's up, guys? I'm BJ Kissel, founder and CEO of KC Sports Network, and I'm here to talk to Kansas City businesses. If you rely on technology, you need an IT support team that's not just another vendor, but a true IT partner. That's why I want to introduce you to my friend and neighbor, KJ Miller. He is a VCIO at ThrottleNet, the Midwest's highest rated and most reviewed IT support company. They've been in business for more than 25 years, helping companies stay secure, productive, and ahead of the curve. They aren't just IT support, but they provide data security, IT strategy, and cloud software services. They do it all, and their reviews show they do it better than anyone else. So if you want to hear about how ThrottleNet can help your local business, join the conversation with myself, KJ Miller from ThrottleNet, and our resident genius from KC Sports Network when it comes to IT, at least as he's affectionately known by us, Mr. Craig Stout. Click the link in the description to hear how ThrottleNet can help you.
Chiefs Kingdom, I have got a question for you. What is your favorite touchdown? Well, for me, I can confidently say that my favorite touchdown, it's the next one, because with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown could bring you closer to cashing in. From the first touchdown score to anytime touchdown props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. From spreads to money lines, same-game parlays, regular parlays, you want it, DraftKings has got it. Here's the best part. Bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly.
I use DraftKings Sportsbook, and you should too. Your team hitting pay dirt pays out to you. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, fees may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Minimum minus 500 odds required. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
I have one serious Taylor Swift, The Life of a Showgirl take. One serious take that I'm going to give right now at the beginning, and then we'll talk about it the rest of the way. Here's my serious take. We have too many Taylor Swift takes. Josh, aren't you going to also talk about Taylor Swift? I am. Maybe I'm feeling territorial. Maybe I'm getting jealous. I don't know. But do you know what the straw that broke this camel's back was? It was this tweet from Awful Announcing that I read this morning in the year of our Lord, 2025. Boomer Esiason says Taylor Swift's new album is, quote, good, unquote, but, quote, every song sounds the same. Boomer Esiason says Taylor Swift's new album is, quote, good, but, quote, every song sounds the same. Boomer Esiason says Taylor Swift's new album... What are we... We don't need this! Look, Boomer's allowed to talk about it just like we're allowed to talk about it. That's fine.
That's true.
It's okay. I'm not really mad at Boomer. I'm not mad at Awful Announcing. I'm not mad at us. Least of all, am I mad at Taylor Swift? Absolutely not. This is the machine. But I saw that today, and I thought, you know what? I got to get introspective at least a little bit. I've got to figure out if I've got something to say, I need to be able to back it up.
Yeah.
I need to be able to look myself in the mirror and say my opinion on this matter means at least as much as Boomer Esiason's. And I don't know if I can do that. I don't know. I've listened to it twice. I don't know if he has. I've listened to it twice. Boomer Esiason. I don't know. Tucker, I believe I saw a tweet where I assume that you and Tara fired that thing up as soon as it was available late last night. I don't know how many spins through you are, but Tara is a dyed-in-the-wool Swiftie through and through. I don't know where you put yourself on that spectrum of Swiftiness, but I want to know. I want to know how it went over in the household there. What did you make of it? Where's Tara at from it? Where's the vibe of the world shifting right now?
Yeah, I think we listened to it twice last night. Tara might have listened to it additionally already this morning because I had come downstairs to do a little bit of work and then came back upstairs for some breakfast. She was listening to it again and she said, "Tucker, I think this is really good. I think that this is amazing," is what she was saying. I was like, oh, yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. That Ophelia, or a song that, right, Opalite maybe is actually what it is. Opalite song, banger, dude. Mm-hmm. It makes you want to move. Here's the thing. I know that there's going to be a lot of people dive into the lyrics, and obviously she's a phenomenal songwriter. Has always been a phenomenal songwriter. Loves the double entendres. There's one song specifically where she loves some double entendres, and I do always appreciate double meanings for songs and for phrases and metaphors. I really do appreciate those. But sometimes, Josh, just like we talked about, the Chiefs just need to, sometimes get back to basics, don't turn the ball over. Sometimes you just need a nice beat. Sometimes you just need something that's real catchy, a little earworm. Sometimes you need a little something that makes you want to move your body. And sometimes you just got to run the damn football, pretty much. This is a ground and pound album of just run. This is a run the damn football album of, you know what, just makes you want to move your body a little bit. You want to bop up and down when you're listening to it. Makes you want to groove a little bit. That's called running the damn football in terms of making music. That's just getting the basics and the fundamentals right. I think Taylor Swift, obviously very good at the fundamentals. She has the air raid, when it comes down to the double entendres, the fancy stuff, the trick plays, the writing. She's got that. She's good at that. But I think this one really just showed like, oh yeah, I still got the fundamentals, still got the heater, still got the fastball. I can throw these other pitches. No, but I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been good. It's been ruminating around our house. I think that's the word I'm looking for, maybe. And it's been very good. I'm going to actually see Chapel Roan tonight in Kansas City, so
Huge.
I'm very excited for that. But
Bring a
huge
report
day-
back for that on Monday, also, please.
Yeah, huge day
I'm
for
very
our
excited to hear
household in
about it.
terms of music. But no, Tara is over the moon about the Taylor Swift album. She loves it. She has listened to it a lot already. She left for the gym a little bit ago. She took today off work, actually. Not
So
because of the Taylor Swift album, but because we were going to Chapel
Might
Roan,
as
so
well
she
be.
took today off. It just happened to be the same thing. But she was going to the gym, and she's like, this album's going to hit so good in the car. I was like, yeah, probably
Yeah.
will. Probably will.
Bet it will. I think you've done something excellent by describing this as a ground and pound album. And I just want to go ahead. You know what? I'm just going to read. I'm going to read. You know, you mentioned the lyricism. You mentioned the
Yeah.
poetry, the double
Yeah.
entendres and all of that. I would like to read this. I think this is a song about good football hits because we mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
you know, the term laying the wood. This song is called Wood. WOOD, not WOULD. So again, this a song about physicality and bringing the hits. Forgive me, it sounds cocky. He amatized and opened my eyes. Redwood tree, it ain't hard to see. His love was the key that opened my thighs. Girls, I don't need to catch the bouquet to know a hard rock is on the way. And baby, I'll admit I've been a little superstitious. The curse on me was broken by your magic wand. Seems to be that you and me, we make our own luck. New heights of manhood. I ain't gotta knock on wood. I'd just like to go ahead and say congratulations to Travis Kelce. How do you celebrate someone who has it all? You write him a song and call it Wood.
I do love, Josh, that right before you started to discuss that song, Jackie Moon in the chat said, any Kelsey shout-outs?
Nope. Nothing I can figure out. Nothing I can find.
Have you seen all the memes going around of like Travis Kelce walking into the facility today after everyone has heard Wood? It's
I
so
imagine that he has a speaker that he like this. I got this little Bose speaker that I think you could just put on like a necklace. You could put on your chain. He could have it just hanging from his chain, blaring that song on loop all the way to Jacksonville.
funny. Oh yeah.
What you think? You think Jared Wiley is gonna give him hell about it? This is pinnacle. It doesn't get any better than that. How could it possibly get better than that?
No, it doesn't. I don't think it can. Actually, I do know how it gets better than that, Josh, because I got to give a shout out to our boy Scott Lawrence. He sent us a message. What's up, boys? Currently watching from the hospital, holding my daughter. Congrats. Cheers, Scott. Congratulations.
Scott.
That's awesome.
Congratulations to the Lawrence family. That's
Yes.
tremendous.
Sorry
Hey,
you had
Scott, congratulations on taking manhood to new heights. You know where babies come from?
Well, maybe we should
Congratulations,
congrats.
Scott.
Congrats, Scott. Yeah, I mean, yeah, more ways than one, Scott. Congrats.
I'm saying, man.
No, I mean, look, there's some sneaky disses also in there in the album as
Yeah.
well. I think there might
Yeah.
have been like a Kayla Nicole diss in there. There might have been a
Oh, was there really?
buddy? There might, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
people-
that. I thought the
Streets are saying Charlie XCX diss. She's married. So Charlie XCX is married to somebody in the 1975. That's why, and I think that Charlie
What?
XCX.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
She is?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought
told me
that
that.
I had seen that Actually Romantic was supposedly about Charlie XCX. I thought that song was fun.
Oh yeah. No, it's a great song.
I didn't know that Charlie XCX was married to anybody, I guess. But I figured I would have known the 1975 thing. This might not be a safe thing
Might
to
not be
say in the
actually
present climate,
married.
but I'm-
Oh no, they are married. George Daniels.
With who? Okay. I guess I don't know. I guess I didn't know that. I definitely didn't know that.
He came to prominence as a member of the rock band 1975. As he part of at least 5 albums. I don't know if he's still with 1975, but at least he's still friends with. I'm sure he's still friends with old buddy, who is the
Matty Healy.
Matty Healy, yeah. Who,
Yeah.
Former thing of old Taylor Swift.
I'm not
1975 got some
prepared to
bangers
make any.
too.
Say again.
1975, they got some bangers.
Okay, I needed you to say it first because I'm getting afraid. I don't know. I don't want to end up on the wrong side of any Swiftie lore.
Oh, I mean,
But
look, Charlie XCX got some bangers though too.
Guy. That's true. Good point. That's true. We can't listen. We can in these divisive times. We cannot lose all of pop music. We have to find the friendly confines. We have to hold on to some of the art.
Am I going to stop listening to Drake and Kendrick? I'm not going to stop listening to either of those guys. Like, am I supposed to take a side, right? Like, I didn't stop listening to Meek Mill when Drake and Meek Mill were beefing, you know?
That's a great point.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's all for entertainment purposes. Wes Wilson and I just kind of talked about this a little bit on our stream yesterday, of just like how football is just like reality TV for men. And how like that kind of translates. It's the same thing with like these like rap beefs and everything like that. Everyone likes it a lot more because it's basically reality TV.
The NBA might be the strongest at that, where it's just like entire. I'm not only just like off-season trade drama, but just like when what was James Harden called Daryl Morey a rat and a loser or something? Do I have all my characters right? James Harden was in, I think, China. I'm gonna see if I can find this specific thing and get the exact phrasing right. But that's again, as somebody who does not, this is not from a particular strong stance. I just don't consume a lot of reality television for whatever reason. I watch sports and Dropout, I guess. It's my fix for that, like little kind of competition kind of things. We do get some real drama. And we all enjoy the drama. Anyone who pretends they don't enjoy the drama is lying to themselves.
Oh yeah, no, it's 100%, 100%. I wanted to. There was a Ryan Rompery in the chat said my take on the Taylor Swift album is wait, she can make deals with the devil because her what is bigger? 10 out of 10, no notes for Taylor Swift. Yeah, she's kind of letting them fly on this album here. So I appreciated that. I know that there is there's a lot of good hip move, a lot of good moving music, a lot of good dancing music, some vibes music, and I think Travis Kelce said that he called them bangers, right? Is what he said. 12 bangers on the album, is how he described it on the podcast. But I do think that there are some very strong bangers that will stand the test of time.
So James Harden was in China and said Daryl Morey is a liar. I will never be a part of an organization that he is part of.
That was
where that drama came from.
That is so good.
Do we feel? Can I give one piece of? I think criticism is too strong of a word. Can I give one thought that since you mentioned that specific thing from Travis Kelce, I really don't want to get in trouble. I really don't.
Yeah.
I really live my life trying to not get in trouble. Megan asks if I've watched Taskmaster. I haven't, but it seems incredibly up my alley, and I feel like I should.
That's Dropout as well, right?
There, Megan. No, that's British, but Dropout has had several Taskmaster inspired things. I think it started in the UK. It might also be an Australian version. I can't remember. It's bigger internationally, and I think it's starting to make its way over here. It's great from what I've seen, but I've not fully dived in. I think that I'm gonna whisper. I'm not going to the ASMR settings. We're just gonna whisper a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get off the screen. Actually, you guys can look at my backdrop. I think that the way that the album was stylized and promoted, and the life of a showgirl, and all of the glitter and glam, and all the alternate covers, and Kelce talking about how every song was a banger and everything, would have led me to expect a showier album that maybe leaned into some of the campiness that it was so clearly a part of the album's visual identity, maybe leaning into the Vegas-y kind of thing. I saw somebody, note that she kind of talked about it being like a peek behind the scenes of like what was going on during the Eras tour. And I don't know that any of that. Well, one song I think was pretty revealing.
Track 9.
That took us behind some curtains. What'd you say, Tucker?
It is track 9.
Is that what a track 9? Can't remember which one that was, but
Yeah.
so that I think that it could have been differenter. Could have not just more varied as an album. I frankly don't agree with Boomer Esiason's take, believe it or not, that it all sounded the same. I actually don't think that's right. But I think it starts kind of big and booming, and I thought it would go that way. And then like the title track, and this might be part of it. What do I know? I'm a man, okay? My opinion doesn't matter. And if the Swifties find this, I want you to know, my opinion doesn't matter. But I like having opinions, and I do like music, and I like having opinions on music. The title track, The Life of a Showgirl, with Sabrina Carpenter, I just thought would be kind of showy. You know, I thought might bring some of that lift in the vibe. And
Maybe
it
some
didn't.
horns.
And that's okay. Because some horns. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of the rest of the album's pretty horny. Why not bring in some brass?
Yeah.
All right, I'm done. That's I have enjoyed it twice through. I also, this is just a real tell on where I'm at. I did go back and pick a couple folklore songs to revisit because man, it's too hot out still for that. But that was a nice groove for me, which is another thing that we can all appreciate all together. There's a lot of Taylor Swift out there. There's something for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Including this album. That's perfect.
That Folklore Evermore dropped, you know, that she was like, oh yeah, by the way, actually I have got another one. And then it's like the LeBron James meme where he goes, and here's 2 more. That's kind of what she did. When LeBron he discovered deluxe albums. That's what happened.
Yes.
LeBron discovered.
Yes.
He invented a deluxe album there. Folklore and Evermore I think I like Evermore better. I think Evermore was the second one that came out. I can't remember how it goes.
Yes, it was.
But Willow, banger. I mean, holy cow! I'm just looking at this set list right now. Like it is.
Dude, okay, so the two albums that I did that with when I was like, man, you look back and we're gonna have to give The Life of a Showgirl some time. You can't judge an album one day out or 2 listens in. It's too soon. But going back at Folklore and going like, oh man, going like Cardigan, The Last Great American Dynasty, Exile, My Tears Ricochet, Mirror Ball. I haven't listened to this album in a little while, and I can hear all of those songs in my head because I've listened to them a lot of times. Also, I don't think I had given 1989 enough respect in terms of how many absolute nuclear hits are on that record. It's crazy.
Yeah, that one's insane. That 1989 is, I think it's Travis's favorite is what he said is his favorite. It seems like it'd be Travis's favorite. Folklore is good. Last Great American Dynasty is one of those songs that is insane. I was fortunate enough to like see her in person, and like because I went to Indianapolis when she came back to the U.S. for the last legs of her tour. Tara and I went to Indianapolis and saw her, and like, which very funny story. Like we went and saw her, and then that was I want to say it was a Saturday, maybe no, it was a Friday because she did 3 nights. Yeah, it was a Friday night when we saw her. Then we drove back, and then on Monday. We went and saw Creed the Monday following. We saw Creed and 3 Doors Down. But so we saw Taylor Swift do her 3.5 hour set where she doesn't take any breaks, dude. Like, I mean, also really sick that she had Gracie Abrams there. Like, that was also a super sick concert to get to watch and experience. So we saw her do that. It is very flamboyant's not the right word. It's very extravagant. That's the right word I'm looking for. In terms of like how her whole set was, how she designed everything, how the music flows from one song to another. It's very thought out and very thoughtful. Everything that she does is very thought out and thoughtful. I think that you can even tell this in this album here and in the promotion of it, right? So everything was so wonderful. Like that concert was insane. Probably the best concert I'll ever go to in my life. And then we went to Creed, and Tara's like, how come he's taking time in between songs? And I was like, dude, Scott Stapp is old and he's got to catch his breath. He just belted out with arms wide open, and he's got to breathe for a second. That's why they're playing these longer interludes in between these songs. But no, it's I do think like, man, she's thrown out some heaters since 2020. Like those last few albums that she's had have been really good. And like I think that we'll look back on Tortured Poets Department a lot. Like I think it's already kind of like one of those higher regarded albums. But like, I mean, there's some really good songs on that one too. But Yeah.
Well, you might think that. I'm going to wait and see what Boomer Esiason says, but I'll give him another year or two
point.
before I
Yeah.
adjust my opinions accordingly. Hey, well, I also tell you other things that you ought to like. Dang it. Let me tell you about Hundreds of Beavers. I know you didn't get a chance to watch it yet, Tucker, so I'm going to sell you on it in the meantime. This is, I think it came out in 2022. I got a post from Oscar Bobo on Blue Sky who said, I'm more hyped for you guys to talk about Hundreds of Beavers than I've been for anything in a long time. Really great, underrated Jim. Just a million jokes a minute. Scratches the Looney Tunes itch I didn't know I had. That, I think, is a very good way of putting it, and I will add this for you from, this is just like a Wikipedia entry for the budget, because you will watch it and I wonder how much this movie cost to make.
Yeah.
This film was shot on a low budget of $150,000 in rural Wisconsin and Michigan across 12 weeks during the winter of 2019-20. Editing and post-production were completed in 2022. This movie was shot in the rural forests of Wisconsin and Michigan for $150,000 in the snow. It's a hard movie to talk about to sell people on, other than just giving the pure energy and utter endorsement. Megan in the chat says, I've recommended Hundreds of Beavers to a lot of people. I imagine you... Steven says, speaking of wood, Hundreds of Beavers. Thank you, Steven. I imagine that anyone who's tried to sell somebody on this movie has probably gone through a similar experience I have now gone through with multiple friends of like, okay, so you could watch the trailer, but I just wouldn't. Yeah, it is essentially like an old school silent film where you're not actually hearing dialogue or seeing colors necessarily. I'll tell you what, man, for a what I imagine was about an hour and a half long movie, you do not get very far into it wondering, when are they going to start talking? Is it all in black and white? Because very shortly thereafter, you realize that it is jam-packed with Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry-esque visual gags shot in real life. Live action was the phrase I was looking for.
There we go.
It is an actor and costumes and the forest. And it is a bonkers trip to go on. It is easily my second favorite movie, where a variety of woodland creatures band together to fight a maniacal cider alcoholic. Because that is also a fair summary of Fantastic Mr. Fox.
There's two of them.
There's two of them. There's two of them. So I cannot recommend that highly enough. Frankly, if you watch it at some point soon, Tucker, or if others watch it and want to chat more about it, I'll talk about it more in perpetuity. Because it really, truly, nothing else that I've ever seen that's quite like it. Again, you get your like Wile E. Coyote style gags being acted out perfectly in a story that moves pretty well. And I will say, at least for me, the number of times and it kind of like lulled a little bit, and I was like, okay, how are they going to keep it fresh? 30 seconds later, they found a way, and they did that for a full hour and a half. And I will watch this again with friends. I will watch this again happily. Hundreds of Beavers, and a full endorsement here from yours truly. It rules.
You can stream it on Amazon Prime as well. That is
excellent.
Yeah, so it is on Amazon Prime. I need to get to that. Hundreds of Beavers has been something on my radar for a minute because Craig Stout recommended it to me probably in 2022, I think, when it came out.
Yes.
He had recommended it to me, and then I think, this was like a couple of weeks ago when you watched it, you brought it up in the chat, and I was like, oh yeah, that's the movie that Craig was telling me about. I did just watch the trailer for it without the sound on. I don't know if I needed the sound on. I doubt it. But very funny. Like, it was very, very funny in terms of how... Oh, it's also on YouTube, what Megan says. It has a 97 on...
It's free on YouTube?
Yeah. That'd be crazy. Such a good time, Brian K. Yeah, so I mean, like,
Ignore all of the beeping from my side. My diabetes things think I'm dying, and I'm not.
Well, I hope
Long
not.
story short. Yeah.
That would
That's
be
what's happening.
Like, yeah, I'm not. And then just a couple hours later, like, I'm in the hospital.
It says free with ads on YouTube, by the way.
Really?
If you want, that might kind of screw up the pacing a little bit, but heck, better than not watching it.
Dude, speaking of screwing up pacing, I watched, so we went and saw 28 Years Later, Tara and I did, when it came out. So we had to watch 28 Days Later with the original one. And you can only watch it on, like, Tubi or whatever it like just one of these like free sites, and this movie took us 3 hours to get through. This is an hour and a half movie. It took us 3 hours to get through because every 10 minutes there was a minute and a half of ads. It's like you can't get into a movie if you're getting an ad every 10 minutes. It's wildly infuriating. I appreciated them having the film there for free, but like at that point, I would have rather just found another way to watch the film. But so you talk about like trying to recommend this to people. This is how I feel about like I Think You Should Leave, because if you just like randomly tell somebody about like, hey, you should watch I Think You Should Leave, and you don't like know them very well, and they'll like see I Think You Should Leave, and they'll be like, is this guy okay? Which like no,
right.
but
right, yes,
that's how I feel. Yeah.
You mentioned this also, but as Ice Pyro said, again, I should have led with this. It has 97% from critics on Rotten Tomatoes, and I think it's like 91 from audience or something. It's a movie that should not be as universally beloved as it is for being as weird as it is. VF is Epic said they watched There Will Be Blood the other day for the first time. I am going through. This will continue to be a theme as we talk about movies on this show whenever allowed. By just when schedules line up.
Right. They got another Monday night game coming up.
Yeah, there we go. We'll just keep Monday night games are the Friday before Monday night games. We're going to talk about more movies.
Yeah.
We watched 2001: A Space Odyssey on Wednesday night. I hadn't seen that, despite the fact that it's like 60 years old and foundational. Have you seen it?
I don't think so, but I know that like
it makes it's one of those movies that you feel kind of dumb for not having seen, because it's like, well, wait, this is like a unbelievably foundational thing for just the rest of movie history in ways that become evident. But there are a lot of movies that are that way, where they're like foundational and you see how influential they were, but then the end result of the movie isn't necessarily incredibly enjoyable in the year you're watching it in. I've had that experience with a couple of movies. I'm trying to get rid of some of those blind spots. Let me tell you, 2001: A Space Odyssey is not one of those. That thing holds up today. I think that gets shown in like smaller theaters and stuff as like a anniversary edition, whatever. I will go see it in theaters the next time that is available to me. It is an unbelievable movie, and I know that you are all waiting for me in 2025 to tell you that 2001: A Space Odyssey does deserve its spot in the hierarchy of film history. But like, it really, really striking. If you haven't seen that, it is worth your time, even though I don't know. If you think, well, it's old. It's probably some of the special effects. No. It's literally operating in an entirely different space. It's unfathomable. Also, Scott asked when I'm going to start filming hundreds of possums. I just need 98 more in my backyard.
98 more possum costumes.
Well, yes. Oh God. I mean, Renee has a onesie that isn't quite to Hundreds of Beavers quality, but I think 99 more of those. I could definitely get it done.
Chad's talking about Citizen Kane. Have you seen that one?
I that's another one that I've heard that like is one of those that absolutely stands up, and I haven't seen it. Yeah.
Very, very. We watched that in college, where we just throw it on and be like, "Oh, let's watch Citizen Kane." Weird, but
I feel like people should. John asked when we're doing the diabetes Q&A. As Adam said, the beeping from my carbon monoxide detector is giving me a headache. I should do that sooner rather than later. I just scrolled past it. Yep, that's the beeping again. I put a new sensor on this morning, and sometimes it takes a little while for the sensor to figure out if my blood sugar is either completely fine or I'm literally dying. And during our last break, behind the curtain here, here's the life of a diabetic. During the break, I got my little finger pricker out, and I pricked my finger, and I bled on an expensive strip of paper for it to tell me, your blood sugar's great, dude. You're doing a great job. And I said, thanks. Can you please tell that to my continuous glucose monitor that is convinced I'm literally dead right now? I'm not. Everything's fine. But if the beeping you've heard is not my house burning down or carbon monoxide in our home, it's that my stuff is beeping at me because I have a bad pancreas that won't do it on its own. So. Oh, rip the Fat Bears! Tucker, Fat Bears!
Oh, yeah, Fat Bears. Sorry, Megan in the chat, though, said they only had like 4 beaver costumes.
Yeah, they definitely did not have 100 at a time. There
so
were more
cool.
people. Here's the thing. I don't even want to talk about the costumes anymore, because if you haven't seen how they handle creating hundreds of beavers for you, then even as it goes on, you will love it's They do
Gosh,
some.
I need to watch it.
They do some incredible things. Incredible things.
Fat
All right,
Bears,
bring
though.
me to the Fat Bears. We go from hundreds of beavers to dozens of Fat Bears. This is, of course, a Matt Derrick bit of territory here. I would never step to Matt on this front, but you can take your further questions to him as necessary. There is a new Fat Bear champion. Tucker, do we have the bracket? Look at you. Of course you do. Chunk Bear 32 Chunk is the new champion. The 2025 Fat Bear Week title goes to a bear with we're gonna say a problematic king. Okay, he's got a pretty good story this year, but you know, I was talking to Renee about this over the course of the voting here in Fat Bear Week. This is bears in Katmai National Park and Preserve. They spend spring and summer eating these salmon, and the water at the peak of it is literally, I'm not kidding, the salmon at the bottom of the falls are trying to jump up. The salmon are bumper to bumper. Like, there is as much salmon as there is water at the top of it. It is a unbelievable thing if you've never seen it. Bring me the bracket again here, Tucker.
Yep, okay.
Because I'm gonna call out a couple things here on either side. So 32 Chunk is the winner. You can see, if you're watching on stream right now, you can see in the little picture, his jaw is broken open. Like, half of his jaw is just sort of hanging flat. And this dude got freaking huge regardless. This is a big fat bear that won Fat Bear Week and got massive after having some sort of unknown confrontation, some sort of altercation that left him with this big scar across his snout and a broken, hanging open jaw. And it's truly unbelievable. Now, Chunk's complicated legacy is that last year he was responsible for killing a cub. I believe it was one of Grazer's cubs, Fat Bear royalty, and you just don't step to Grazer. That's brutal. But he was paired up in the final with 856, who also has a very complicated history. Anyway, as I was telling Renee about this, you can take the bracket down. Now, if you want to see more, go to explore.org. You can see all of their stuff, and you get better looks at the pictures and how freaking huge Chunk got and how gnarly his face is while being a worthy champion in my book. But as I was telling Renee about all of this, and we were catching up on the story of it all, and again, I was talking to Matt, as Mizzou19 says, Matt Derrick, who lives vicariously as Fat Barrick. That's really funny. I don't know if anyone's ever said that to him, and if not, you should tweet it at him. That's very funny. Yeah. As Fat Barrick was bringing me up to speed, and I was doing my own research, and I was bringing Renee up to speed, I do have to clarify, as Lucky Tom in the chat says, canceled Chunk. Scott Preston says 32 Chunk sounds like part of a play call. I'll tell you what, if Dontari Poe was on this team, his play call 32 Chunk would be amazing. As I was saying to Renee, I'm partially telling this to myself, one of the big things that I think kind of gets glossed over, because you watch these bears all year and you see them absolutely murdering salmon 24/7 in just an absolutely visceral way, and they're getting huge, and you want them to be fat so they can hibernate, and you want to see all these fish and have them be, a healthy group of bears and everything. And the one thing that occasionally gets glossed over is that they're bears. And you might think, well, what do you mean that way? Well, they're bears is the thing. The thing is that they're bears. And so, like, last year, Fat Bear Week was delayed by a little bit because one of the bears killed another one of the bears. I believe Chunk was seen with the carcass of Chunk didn't do this murder. Excuse me. This
Allegedly.
bearing, because that's the thing. I use a lot of human language. A problematic king. We have our issues with Chunk. Well, Chunk's crimes, as we litigate them, Chunk's crimes is that he's a bear,
Protective.
and he's doing bear things because he's a bear. So that's the thing I have to remind myself. I did ultimately cast my vote for Chunk in the final there. 856 was is an older bear, had never won Fat Bear Week, had been the most dominant bear at Katmai National Park at times throughout history. Ultimately, the story of Chunk getting it done with the broken jaw is too good to pass up. A very worthy champion. But as Jonathan Cook in the chat asks, shall we fault a bear for acting as a bear? Exactly. Bears are gonna bear. So that's the complicated state of Fat Bear Week. But I do think we got a very worthy champion and an incredible performance from Chunk, playing through an injury, playing through pain this year, and still getting extremely Chunk.
Well, look, I mean, playing through injury, still earned that bye. Still earned that first round bye.
Yes.
Chunk did.
Yes.
So like still a great performance from him there. I was impressed with 856. Is that who made it to the finals? It didn't earn a bye. Worked his way all the way through that bracket from the bottom and made it all the way to the top. All the way to
a 2018 Drew Brees kind of run there for 586 or 856.
856, yeah. And so impressive all around, but I agree. I think the better bear won.
I agree. Yep, I think that's right. There are other bears with better vibes. There's the bear who's nicknamed Flotato because it looks like a potato floating down the river sometimes. It just lays on its back, just got its belly exposed out there. I do kind of hope that we end up with a good vibes Fat Bear winner maybe next year. I don't know what kind of message it sends if I'm wearing a 32 chunk jersey, you know? I don't know. Do I want the kids to see that? I don't know. I haven't decided yet.
Right.
But as will be some of the final words of today's show from Stephen Holman in the chat, Bears are gonna bear. We'll talk to you on Monday. Have a good weekend. Enjoy your red zone. We'll talk about Chiefs Jags more on Monday. Watch Hundreds of Beavers. Listen to Taylor Swift an appropriate amount to do that. And congratulations to Travis Kelce. Bye, Mom.